Tag Show.
The Mixed Tag Show.
With Jenna and Blue.
Damn.
Now, here's your host, Jenna and Blue Magic.
What's going on?
What's up?
It's the Mixed Tag Show with
Blue
and Jenna.
Try to switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
What's up?
You gotta give me a nod or something.
No, you gotta be quick with it. Like I pass you gotta be.
I'm kind of
catch
Chris
it.
Paul right now with my fakes. Like I need the fakes. How was your week?
How was my week? It was cool. My weekend was fantastic, but my week was. Okay.
What'd you do this weekend?
I didn't do anything this weekend.
That's why it was fantastic.
No, because you didn't see.
Oh,
Yeah, come on.
I mean, you can say it too. Let the people know.
What do the people need to know? Well, the people know. Everyone saw.
Okay.
I think everyone saw. So that was I mean, it was a cool touch to the weekend. So, yeah.
I didn't do anything this week except for cry because Game of Thrones, cry some more
Okay.
because of wrestling, and then cried a little bit more because my team blew a 3-0 lead yesterday in the Premier Cup. So not Premier, sorry, Championship Cup.
Football.
Yeah, I was not happy about
Not
that.
soccer. Football.
Yeah, I was not happy about that. That was kind of embarrassing. But
Well, my Warriors, they play, so hopefully we can get this 3-2.
I'm rooting for you guys.
And I have faith, but I don't know it's gonna be tough. So we'll see.
I've been a little shaky. these
Yeah,
past
definitely
couple
without
weeks.
us. But this is not a sports podcast. It's a wrestling podcast. So on our sports podcast, we'll talk about it.
Definitely. Nice shirt you're wearing.
Thank you, sir.
What is that you have there?
Usos Penitentiary.
Usos Penitentiary.
You know where you can get that at?
No, please tell me.
At the WWE shop.
Ah.
Shout out to the WWE shop for lacing me with this shirt. They didn't lace you with that shirt, but
Shout out to Nurse Clothing.
we're always with the fly gear that you can also find their stuff on the WWE shop.
I wanted to wear this last week, after Cinco de Mayo. Didn't work out too well, so I wore it this week.
Would that be deemed as like stereotypical or?
No, there's the Mexican flag on here.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. All right.
Did you see the video between Greg and Zelina arguing about what he should name her coming from? And she's like, what you trying to say, Mexican? Do I sound Mexican? And they're like in makeup. He's like, no, but you're with, Andrade. And he's like, so that doesn't label me as Mexican.
I didn't see that. I would love to see that.
It's
Actually.
really hilarious.
Is
But
it on her page or his page?
it's on his Twitter.
Okay, you have to show me that.
I
didn't
got
see
you.
it. I didn't see
But
it.
if you'd like to cop that nice shirt that Jenna is wearing, head over to the WWE shop in the link in our description
If you guys
at the
can-
Mixed Tag Show.
If you guys can see how I'm pairing it, but my fashion taste is impeccable.
I'll catch you later and add it in.
No, you won't.
Okay. Go ahead and hit the link in the Mixed Tag Show or at our personal at
Miss Jenna Baby, BAYBEE,
or at Blue Magic
I
Grind
say
spelled
or and you say it. Or
at Blue Magic Grind spelled how it sound. Also, you'll be able to click the link in the description of our YouTube. Boop, boop, boop.
right there.
And get you some nice gear. You know where you get some gear from?
Collar and elbow
Shout out to Al Snow, lacing us with the nice shirts.
that we haven't worn yet and haven't done a skip for it, but it's
We're-
coming.
It's coming. We're working on it.
It's coming.
But I told y'all supposed to tag Al Snow to get him in our skit. Like, we trying to.
No, they're not gonna do
Okay.
that.
All right. So,
not-
yeah, make sure you
No, I'm kidding. Let me not say that.
go ahead and use the code name TMTS, which stands for They Might, They See. Right.
Alrighty, you're gonna break the table, and we got more stuff to pay for.
Nah, we good. On to the draft. The Mixed Tag Show Fantasy Draft, Season 3.
Wait, do it again because I don't know if you.
The Mixed Tag Show Fantasy Draft, Season 3.
Sponsored by
We don't have a sponsor.
water.
Water. Okay.
Alrighty,
H2O.
there we go. H2O.
How are we looking over there, Jenna?
All right, Billy. So this week,
I'm Billy. Great.
You have to applaud. You have to give a round of applause, drum rolls, because this is remarkable. This is the
Drum
first.
roll?
Yeah. In first place this week, for the first time ever, do it again. I'm flabbergasted just by who's in the lead. But shout out to the favorite posers. X3 is in the first place.
Wow.
This week with 133 points.
Put him on the map. Kinda, sorta.
Somewhat. But shout out to X3 because he's been struggling. He's worked hard. His
Grinding.
Grinding.
At the end.
Up next, we have the Nation of McFly Nation with 105.1 points, and then the McMahon Regime 2.0, 105. So Craig had the slight lead by a decimal point.
We counting. Everything counts.
Everything counts. Undisputed Art Era was 73 points. The Night Riders, 38 points. And Mixed Emotions,
Sheesh.
2 points. 2 points. With that said, still in the lead is Mixed Emotions with 1906.4 points.
So you know what I just realized?
What?
It's basically like the thing just flipped around, like
basically
completely. The top ones are in the bottom this week.
Exactly.
Oh wow.
Second place is Night Riders with 1,600.95 points. Third place we have the Nation of McFly Nation, Craig, 1,524.92 points. The McMahon Regime, Saeed, 983 points. Undisputed Art Era, Lionel, 497 points. And last, and certainly not least, but you should be very proud of yourself, sir.
You working, man. You working.
172.56 points. The favorite posers.
I give you applause. You did good this week. You came out of nowhere.
You sure did.
RKO.
Good for you. The week prior, he only got 16 points, but that's last week.
Nah, we're not talking about the last. Let's good week.
That's it. Let's jump into
your show. Are you still proud of this show?
I'm not proud of the company, but we'll get into it. So the chairman, Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon, comes out and announces wild card rules.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
It seems like a failed attempt to like even out both shows because they feel like one is lopsided in a way, and I also feel like this is like a step towards breaking up the brand split because you really don't have enough time for people that you have on your roster already. Now you're bringing people from other shows for what? I don't get.
So my issue is, we obviously will get to SmackDown. At first I was like, this is trash. SmackDown, it wasn't so bad because you get like matches that you may not typically see throughout the year or a couple of years.
Right.
So I like that idea, but it's still, I don't like the idea because one, it's how long is this going to last? Because you know with WWE, they try something for a split second and they don't stick with it.
Nope.
Kind of like November, December, and they said we're the authority. Yet they reverted back to what they've typically been doing. And there's no storyline.
It's just random people showing up onto each other's shows for what?
So you're ultimately, one, you're not building the budding stars that you have, like Cedric Alexander. As much as I get on him about being like boring or whatever, these are the moments that he's a really good wrestler.
Right. But
people who watch the main roster don't know that because you're not featuring him.
And he's on SmackDown or Raw?
He's on Raw. So with that said, it's like, okay, so how do you build these people up and make stars? And we'll talk. Right. I added that in the hot topics. We'll discuss the reasoning for the wild card rules, but ultimately you have to make new stars. And if you don't feature these people that you have on each brand,
exactly,
you're not. How it's going to be the same old.
And, put them in a proper role. So how they supposed to excel or help build the brand in a certain way?
Yeah, like I didn't want to see Drew and Roman again. Like like
WrestleMania rematches a month later.
Yeah, like it was unnecessary. Like I get it, like once in a blue moon, but every week it's going to be the same thing, like right. 4 different, and it's just going to be ultimately the same 4 people showing up. I know it's not. It's going to be Roman on Raw, It'll probably be AJ on SmackDown. So there's nothing that's fresh or exciting about it.
Right.
So I'm not in favor of it.
And this one right here, I'm trying to remember if there's any on the SmackDown side. Was there any women that jumped from brand to brand?
No, all this sounds like this is just going to be the men's thing, and you don't have it on here. But speaking of the women had a match that was like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
One segment.
Yeah. I kind of bring it into it with SmackDown because they kind of did the same thing to SmackDown, but it's just...
Yeah, so it's just like, I don't know. I like, this is the first time ever in a good couple of years, and Raw's been pretty bad over the past year or two, that I cut it off. I haven't cut off Raw. Like, I typically...
So you didn't finish Raw?
No, I didn't finish it. After, I think it was the women's match. I wound up hearing about the Usos because I got text about it, and then I saw the clip. And then when I went over to do the points, I like kind of fast forward through Daniel and Kofi, but I didn't care to watch it.
Well, Daniel and Kofi was actually a pretty good match.
It wasn't like WrestleMania type match.
But the TV style was good.
It was good, but why they don't deserve my rating? They really don't. Like, why should you like patronize your audience and like, oh yeah, we're gonna bring the top stars and make it exciting? No, that's still not fixing the problem.
Right, it's not.
So like, as much as I like Kofi and I like Daniel Bryan, the product itself didn't deserve the last hour rating for me, at least.
So did you get a chance to see Styles still play a little bit to turning heel?
When they had the match, yeah, that was the beginning of the match. Like I said, I stopped watching after the women's match. Yeah, the women's match segment. Yeah. So
how did you feel about that? How do you see that whole storyline building going?
Well, I like the fact that AJ, it's time for him to become a heel, or just like a new dynamic to his character, because like, again, as he's one of, if not the greatest wrestler in the world currently, or that's debatable, but AJ can get stagnant and has been stagnant. Just a prime example was his title run.
Right.
So I like this. It'll be a new. I thought he was turning heel when he had punched McMahon out.
Right, and then they teased it and let it go. And you notice they didn't even mention it when AJ and Vince was in the ring together.
They didn't?
No.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, like, it's just, I don't know. It's
like, they just talked like it was cool, like, oh, yeah, whatever they was doing.
It's like we remember stuff, but they seem to not remember things and don't think we don't remember. It's just like, there's never any cohesion when it comes to the writing, and it's just... It's nauseating at this point. Like, I just legit, like, I'm over it. I try to give it, but
I feel bad for Lashley because he's just back into. We'll get into that. The Firefly Funhouse continues.
It's one of the bright spots.
Yes, it is.
WWE currently. This is my only fear is that once he gets and he comes back to whatever brand it is, it's just gonna be the same old same. Well, not from Bray, but just the company.
Yeah, because this is a good build for it. Like, it's not.
You're
starting to see more and more of the dark side of it. Like, hey, trust me, guys. Like, come on, get closer. Yeah. Like, those kids forever are freaky. I don't care what he used them in as lambs, whatever. Yeah. The trained kids to sit and not do anything like that. It's just.
Yeah, so I like it. I hope they don't turn it down. I like it. It's creepy.
Yeah.
And it's just like something different or something we haven't seen in a while from WWE.
Definitely.
So I hope they continue.
We saw he had potential and then they just fumbled the ball.
Yeah.
The new Usos act. They go on comedy on us. How you feel about that?
When I got text about this, and the person was like, wow, they're really making them look like the Revival look like a joke. And I was like, I didn't know because I didn't watch it. But then I think someone sent me the link or something. I don't know. But I watched it. I was like, yo, you got to be kidding me. Like, I don't even, at this point, I don't know what they're trying to do with the Revival. I don't know if they're trying to punish them for trying to leave, or this is just that they think it's funny,
right?
Or what. And I saw a lot of people on Twitter like, oh, well, people forget in the 90s how, it was this type of crude humor. And I'm like, yes, I understand that. But like it was expected from certain people.
Right.
Right? When you have the Usos that were on SmackDown, just they added a hint of comedy in their promos, but it was hard hitting.
Right.
You know, when they came out like straight like thugs, you know what I mean?
About straight business.
That's more or less their persona, right? And I know they fool around too. That's
right.
really them, but like. Would not, like you said, it is the new comedy act, and then the revival. The revival aren't jokes. So just to see Scott,
right.
Come on, like slide his ass across the ring and floor. Come on, that's not. This is the same team that had the best match in NXT against DIY, and this is what
and AOP.
And AOP. So this is what we're doing with them. Like that's like I didn't find it funny. I don't. I can laugh. I'm not uptight.
Right.
These weren't the two people to do it with. If anything, it's Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins you would do that with, right? Because you expect that from them. You know what I mean? The B team, you expect that, like silly stuff like that. When you certain like superstars that are just like hard hitting and about their business and putting on great matches, there's no need for that.
Exactly, and that's kind of how I feel with the Usos. Is like it wasn't broken, so why was you trying to fix it? They were fine the way they were.
It's just something about Raw, man.
And then now you're giving them mics to walk out to the ring to sing along with their entrance music. I'm not a very big fan of that. Like that doesn't no. I think automatically it's R-Truth.
Yeah,
that's his thing.
Yeah.
So why are you gonna have to get to Usos now?
Which is funny, and we'll get into it for SmackDown. I don't know if you put it there. I didn't get the chance to look, but we'll talk about. I guess you did, right, for the tag team titles. Right?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it then.
But it's just like. That dynamic, and like you said, the revival. Like these are the guys that you were begging to stay, basically. Like you've given them, like just
still begging them,
right? And then now you want to send them out, like you want to treat them this way. It's just, they deserve so much more.
I just don't understand. Like the owner of this company is 70-some odd years old. Like all of this is childish.
Yeah,
these are all grown men. You know what I mean? But then you bash others for knowing their worth and not putting up with that crap. Like, and I get it. And people say the whole thing with Joey Ryan and his penis, and I get it. Like, I understand this. You're gonna see silly acts, what have you, right? But that's all of WWE. Like, Joey Ryan is just Joey Ryan, right? And then you have whoever, doing their thing. This is throughout the whole product where it's silly and doesn't make sense and there's no cohesion. So
again, they're still looking for cohesion writers. Remember, was it the cohesion manager or something like that? How did you rate Raw?
I gave it a D.
And I gave it a C-. And then people gave it C-. Yeah. Didn't fare too well for us this week, huh?
I mean,
the people usually are more generous than that.
I mean, I probably would have given it an F, but the match between Kofi and DB was decent enough to hold its ground. And then the whole thing with the wild card thing, it took 25 minutes for that. That's what everyone was like, why was this 25 minutes? And when you gave the women 5 seconds? I don't know.
It's starting to revert back to some ways that we remember.
About a decade or so ago.
Yeah.
On to your show.
The wild card continues.
See, SmackDown did a better job. I don't know if it's because it's 2 hours, but I think they did a better job of, okay, here is one segment, that's it. And then we'll get to the match later on. That's why I was more generous in my grading when we get to it. But
it just felt weird to see that 2 Raw superstars get a shot at the WWE title on SmackDown. Mm-hmm. Just randomly in a triple threat match, even though he defended it the night before. I get it, you're trying to make him a fighting champion. But who really believed that AJ or Sammy was going to do it?
Yeah.
I mean, Sammy came close. And I would have been surprised. That'd been a perfect swerve. That'd have made SmackDown up there like, yo, this is pretty dope.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it. So what was the point?
Yeah.
So, I'm not a very big fan of this.
You know how much heat Sammy and KO, for that matter, would have gotten, and how much of the support Kofi would have gotten. I mean, sometimes you kind of have to pull the trigger. Ultimately, I would be annoyed because, damn, it's the whole situation. You don't get a full long reign, title reign. But sometimes when you have those moments, it kind of helps, and then it gets people talking. This is just like.
Okay.
All right.
Because they could have did the Zayn thing and then have him defend it at Money in the Bank against Kofi and KO make that and let Kofi win it back there. Like they've done stuff like this.
Yeah. It
was just like, all right, I did it for what? Even though the match was dope, the match was great.
Yeah.
But it was just like a throwaway.
Yeah. Now, in regards to the Usos, how they came out for SmackDown is Uso. There's a hint of comedy with the whoa, but them giving another great promo and then a great match to follow. That's what I'm used to for the Usos. A hint of comedy, not overdoing it, and then just a hard-hitting match.
And with facts and everything like that. What do you think about DB and Roman winning the tag team titles? I know when they took the titles of the Hardys, I'm like, y'all don't even have a tag team division. Yeah. Where is this going?
I don't think this team is going to last long because it looks like they're going to try to build up heavy machinery, which is cool. The one thing that I like about this is that I hope they change the titles, make it more green. So I'm excited for that. I'm okay with it. Like I hope it's not a long-term thing because ultimately, Daniel Bryan, you need more single superstars. Like there's a lack of in the roster.
Right.
I feel like in general, like it's not evenly proportioned.
Right.
So ultimately, I just think DB should be continued like in the WWE title or just in the main card. But I like it if it's just a temporary thing just to put heavy machinery over because at this point you need to put your actual tag teams over.
Right.
I like it.
I wonder how long AOP got to come back.
I think I read not too long ago. I forget which one is the one that's injured.
I forget which one is injured.
But were they at the Performance Center? Or they're close, basically. So
okay, I hope they go to SmackDown because SmackDown needs as many tag teams
definitely
they could get.
Absolutely.
Shane McMahon was making an announcement about the Money in the Bank. Got attacked by Miz. What do you like? I don't see why they're doing a cage match at Money in the Bank. Like this is a ladder themed pay-per-view. Y'all couldn't find a way to incorporate ladders into this in any way. Like cage was just not match.
For that matter, I wouldn't even have the match at Money in the Bank.
Exactly.
I'd have the match on the next SmackDown. Like, again, the days of, like, us getting a steel cage match or a ladders match or whatever on Raw and SmackDown is long gone. Yeah, they tried to do it right before the last year, right before the year ended. But that was it.
Yeah.
Right? I would have loved to see this on next week's episode.
The cage match?
Yeah, and let it be. But, they gotta capitalize on it somehow, some way. Well, yeah, I don't know, but I'll tell you, Miz is very good. He's come a long way, and I've said this numerous times. Like, he's believable as a heel, obviously, but he's definitely believable as a face.
He's doing a lot better this time as a face than he did last time.
Yeah, but that was short-lived, so I don't really consider that. But this, I think he's doing a great job as a face. And I hope they don't change him too soon like they did with KO. Like KO, they switched.
Yeah, he said it too. He said it in some interview. Like,
he would have liked to
stay a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But a point I wanted to make about SmackDown is that there was no Becky 2 belts. There was no Charlotte. No Iconics, who are your tag team champions.
And there was no Bayley.
And was the Iconics even on Raw? No, right?
Apparently, I don't know if it was both of them or it was just like Peyton or someone. They were on like main event. But this is why. Is why certain people left, took their ball and left for this reason. That's the reason.
Then we had Carmella and
the tag team, the tag team titles that we worked so hard to get, or they worked so hard to get, is completely absent on the show, on both shows because it's supposed to be on. They haven't been to NXT. Like this is insane to me. This is really insane.
What's insane to me is not only that the Iconics are not there with their title, it's the fact that you're diminishing the women's movement all over again. Like it's just.
It was a 2-minute match.
And the whole Carmella Ember Moon versus Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville for what? Because
Bayley was supposed to be. You remember Bayley, Carmella, and Ember Moon was supposed
to tag against Charlotte and the rest. Like, and for reason they changed last minute.
And no one's heard of it. Like the reasoning why, what happened.
And Mandy Rose is supposed to be in the Women's Money in the Bank, and I guess Ember Moon and Carmella is as well. Mm-hmm. So it's like they're not even in the tag team division. So why would you make this a tag team match? You didn't have Paige announce that Asuka and Sane gonna go against the other two, Rose and DeVille, for what?
Like I said, and this was the point. I cut it off. I went out and did whatever. Like, I'm again, like, this is, cause it bothers me every week to see Kyrie and Asuka come out with Paige. I mean, yeah, with Paige, like Asuka's like some rookie. Like,
right.
Asuka was just had the longest winning streak in NXT, and
right.
no one's ready for Asuka. Now you have her just like,
whatever she says.
Yeah, like
whatever she says, we with it.
And I'm just confused. Where was Bailey? You know, and I don't know, like, why are we not promoting Charlotte and Becky? Because ultimately that's the match that's going on in Money in the Bank, and I know we're over it, but like, again, the theme today is kind of like the Firefly Funhouse. The word of the day is cohesion.
Right.
Like, there's no, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, it wasn't as bad as Raw.
It wasn't.
But it still wasn't that great.
What'd you rate Raw? I mean, SmackDown.
C+.
I give it a C. And the people were a little bit more generous, and they gave it, looks like a B.
B- maybe.
Maybe I'm gonna be minus. I'll be minus.
Yeah. So I added this to Hot Topics. I think I read it yesterday or today, or I don't know. But the reasoning for the wild card rule is WWE is feeling the pressure from Fox and NBC Universal. Obviously, they own USA Network, and Fox, obviously, SmackDown is moving to Fox due to low ratings. They feel they need more star power. Vince McMahon is still adamant about the brand split, but that's the reasoning why they plan on having different superstars go to each brand.
Because you know what happens when you eliminate the brand split? Titles get swallowed up. You lose merchandise. Then you have to worry about people not spending enough time on TV. Then you lose that merchandise.
I mean,
ultimately,
it's
losing money.
Ultimately, that's what they're doing now, and I'm for the brand split. I mean, when it first happened, like literally when it first happened, that was the time when I started. Like, I stopped watching wrestling. I was like, what is this? I just remember cohesion, storyline continuing from Raw to SmackDown and to Raw, SmackDown.
Right.
That's what I'm used to, right? So when they did the whole brand split thing, I was like, oh, I'm not with this. But fast forward to 2016 when it came back again, right? The draft.
Right.
I was for it because it's a really big roster.
Right.
And that's not even including the superstars that's ready to get called up at NXT. So I'm glad he's adamant about this, but still, it's just like you have to build the stars, right? You can't just have stars, your main guys go on each show, but then again, someone like, you know, I don't know,
Buddy Murphy,
Ali, like, these are guys.
Buddy Murphy, I didn't mean to cut you off. He actually debuted it during the commercial break.
That was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and I read that. I'm like, yo, are y'all serious? Like, Buddy Murphy is dope. Like, super, super dope. You have Ali. I mean, yeah, he was featured. But, like, these are guys that I can see legit being the next stars of the WWE. Buddy Murphy, Ali, Andrade, Alistair, Ricochet.
Yep.
Right? These are the guys that you need to really be behind and push, you know? I don't know in regards to the women, but these are the next group of guys I feel that you can make new stars. Right? Let them do their thing kind of in the mid-card and then eventually go against Daniel Bryan, Roman, Finn, Seth. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how you built the stars. That's how they used to do it back in the day. You know what I mean? All this is just stunting people's growth in the company, and it's I don't understand how no one in that company realized, okay, well, maybe this isn't working. Maybe we need to build stars. Let's watch NXT and see how they're doing it in NXT. Like, you have a whole bunch of yes men that's working for this guy, and no one's stepping up and be like, yo, this is not funny. This is not cool. Let's hire people that they don't have to be marks, but like have some type of knowledge in wrestling, so they, you know, and have an idea of what the audience want, right?
Exactly.
and stop like. I don't know. It's just I'm over it.
I see. What is this that you got about Lars Sullivan offensive remarks?
So, I don't know if you've heard in the past that there's been he's a controversial figure.
Right.
So to report from Reddit, a thread surfaced, in regards to Lars Sullivan, back in the past has made racial remarks. I breezed through it and I didn't want to read the rest because they're offensive.
Right.
But he's made like racial remarks, sexual orientation, mental health, sexual assault, all things that are offensive. He's made comments about on a bodybuilding forum, and you can't hide the fact that it's him because his photos are all over there. So that's kind of where they're at with Lars Sullivan. Someone asked Big E, and I saw it on Twitter, was he aware of those comments? And Big E responded, we're all aware of the comments. And then something along the lines, just I'm paraphrasing, I wonder what's his reaction or what's his thing, that half of the roster is minorities, right?
Right.
And as reported by Brian Alvarez in the Wrestling Observer Radio, WWE is aware of his past comments and isn't going to fire him. He apologized for it and was remorseful of those said comments. And that's a classic case of you got caught, now I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because I would respect it if he told on himself, listen, a couple of years ago.
I kind of went off, my bad.
Not even I kind of went off. I had these feelings or whatever. I'm a changed person, whatever. This is not how, this doesn't represent me today, whatever. I respect that. But you got caught, ultimately.
Yeah.
And this is, it always happens. People say whatever on Twitter or social media, and then it comes back and bites them in the ass, right? And I know, and the thing is about Lars Sullivan, there's a constant thing with a controversy around him because you always hear if one of these wrestling fans, these girls like his pictures, he's in their DM.
Right.
No matter, it doesn't even matter their age or not. So he's not a decent human being from the looks of it, right? But again, these are the type of people you hired because of the look or whatever. And it's not even anyone's checking for Lars Sullivan.
Nah, they not.
So it's baffling to me that this is who you want to push, right? But when you have decent people or just better superstars,
Bobby Lashley.
That you can get behind and you do nothing with.
Bobby Lashley. That's a monster right there that you don't use.
Yep. That's just as big, better, has a better build, And
here's another one. Killian Dane is being sent back to NXT. After Eric Young and, Nikki Cross is going to Raw. Alexander Wolf went to NXT UK. FW Online confirms that Dane will be heading back to NXT. I think that's just whack. You put the man up just to bring him back down because you didn't know how to use him and because you left him in the back.
Again, I just don't understand how does the whole process goes? Vince goes to Triple H and tells him, I want these people. Do you know what they do?
Right.
How does that work? What's the point of making such a logjam on the main roster if you're not going to utilize them? If you're not going to call them up, leave them in NXT. I'm pretty sure most people want to go back to NXT.
Exactly. The Revival can't catch a break. They was offered a 5-year, $500K per year deal, but they turned it down. And now WWE is adding 2 more months to Dash Wilder's contract for his time when he was injured a couple of years ago, so he had the wired jaw. And now his contract will now end June 2020 instead of April 2020. This is what we're doing. We're adding months for injuries. Just to make sure.
Who does that? Well, the WWE apparently.
Yep.
That's there got to be some type of law or something labor laws that you can't do this.
Right.
I don't understand why no one's actually challenging the WWE. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. You're an independent contractor, but you can't quit. You can't.
And that's the thing. And that's a lot of people discuss that. You're an independent contractor, but it's
you're treated like an employee.
An employee. So if you're treated like an employee, where's the health insurance? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Jon Moxley.
He's just going in today.
Yeah. Jon Moxley has returned on May 1st, a.k.a. Deanne Rose, released a promo video. Did you see the video and then King came out?
I did.
Everybody's excited about it. There's rumors circulating that he still is working with WWE, and that it's just a work. And that it's just like they killed off the Dean Ambrose character. He's going to come back to Jon Moxley. I hope that's not the case. But there's also rumors that he's, entertaining a deal from AEW and Impact. So,
yeah.
That's
he'll be working the independent scene as well.
Yeah, he's going to be working the independent scene as well. But he's not waiting for that because he got an acting role.
Good for him.
He's going to be in a MMA movie, acting film called Cage Fighter. He's
him.
a wrestler that beats an MMA fighter.
Good for him.
So,
gotta get your coin some way, right?
Yep. We're back at your favorite place.
I'm not gonna watch it.
Nah.
Yeah.
WWE returns to Saudi Arabia. Joseph Goldberg and Brock Lesnar already advertised for the event. The reason why I brought this up is because there's talks that Goldberg should beat Rollins. Lesnar beats Kofi to have Goldberg versus Lesnar at SummerSlam, so that Brock Lesnar could go into SmackDown as both champions to help out Fox deal.
I can't anymore.
I mean, it's just talks. You don't know if it's real or not.
No, I know, but
it's not far fetched.
I can't.
It's not far fetched at all.
It's not far fetched. That's why I'm like I can't, because I can see it happening.
Especially when
thinking that's a good idea.
Especially when he retired from MMA.
Yeah, so it's just like, okay, alrighty.
As you know, the Hardy Boys dropped the tag team titles. They are injured. Well, Jeff Hardy got injured at a house show. He'll be out for 6 to 9 months. I feel like Jeff is always the one that gets hurt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as of recently, it was Matt, though, right? That was out for a really long time.
Yeah, but before that was like Jeff 3 times already.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff's body's like breaking down. And it sucks because I would have loved him to have more matches. Like,
right.
We have like a nice Hardy Boys run.
Yeah.
XFL announces new TV deal. The XFL is set to premiere February 8th, 2020. It was announced that it would air on ESPN, ABC, Fox Sports, and FS1. The schedule shows back-to-back games on Saturdays and Sundays. I think I saw a Thursday game too.
I think that's like towards the championships, like the playoffs.
Well, it's good that they decide they're not going to compete with the NFL.
Yeah.
So that's good.
And apparently it's getting a lot of, people in the sports world are really like, okay, I think this could really work this time.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. You got if you have ESPN, ABC, Fox Sports, and FS1 all
tied in.
I can't see, unless you want to, control everything and not listen to others and make this whatever. Then,
right.
But we'll see. What do we have next?
NXT TakeOver 25 is announced. It will be taking place at Webster Bank Arena, Bridgeport, Connecticut, on June 1st.
It's weird.
It is, because it was supposed to be a pay-per-view that weekend. They moved it for the Saudi Arabia one. That's why. I think that was supposed to be on the 7th, and they moved it to the 1st so that Saudi Arabia can happen. They just want to do something for 25, I guess. I don't know. MLW makes major signing. MLW has announced that they have signed Marshall and Ross Von Erich. They are the sons of Kevin Von Erich. Have you seen Dark Side of the Ring?
No.
They talked about the Von Erich family, and I've read the book about that too, and it's just so sad how that family.
We have to. I was told. Shout out to Janelle of the Jobber Tears podcast that to watch MLW because it's really, really good.
It's starting to pick up again.
Yeah, a lot of people have been hearing that MLW is really, really good, especially since I'm feeling about WWE. Right
starting to search for other outlets.
Yeah.
Well, there's another outlet, AEW Double or Nothing update. The largest commercial TV network in UK, ITV, has announced they have a deal with AEW for Double or Nothing. The pre-show event has been renamed Casino Battle Royal, where they're going to make people come in 5 at a time, and the 21st person is Lucky 21 to play into the whole casino thing. Mm-hmm. And the winner will get a future title shot against the first AEW champion.
That's how it should be.
I knew you would like that part.
That's how it should be.
Would you like to take this next one?
Wow.
Boss time!
Yeah, I will. Sasha Banks update. According to PW Insider, Banks did not travel with WWE for the European tour that's currently happening. She was set to film promotional material for WWE 2K video game, the WWE 2K video game, but no word if she participated. I added a little bit more because obviously we didn't record last week. But WWE Hall of Famers Booker T and Tony Atlas have made interesting and critical comments in regards to Sasha's stance with WWE. And I paraphrase most of it. Booker T mentioned on his Hall of Fame podcast he didn't understand Sasha's issue. He also went on to say, but there are those ones like Sasha Banks who has all the talent and rises up to the top level and gets there and then realizes that it is not what she thought it was, because the reason is that it's not all about you. It is never going to be all about you. Tony Atlas also went on to say in his interview with Boston Wrestling MWF, you always get it at home. Now if she does decide to come back, they're going to destroy her. Her career is over. They'll job her out. He went on to say that she has left the spot for other talent to take over and that they're glad she's gone. WWE doesn't need Sasha Banks, but that the legit boss needs WWE.
Becky Lynch calls out the boss in the Sports Illustrated interview. Becky tells Sasha to come and fight me, Sasha. At one time, Sasha Banks was the top dog. She was the boss, but Sasha has fallen from grace. It's all quotes from Becky Lynch. Let's prove something. I know we've had tremendous matches back at NXT. This ain't the last kick anymore. This is the man. I would love to go toe-to-toe, the man versus the boss, to prove who's the top dog now. Here's Becky trying to reel Sasha back in, and like, don't go yet. But then it's like the comments that Tony Atlas and Booker T makes is like, the way they valued you guys when you were there is not how y'all should have been valued. And y'all didn't say anything, so y'all didn't get the recognition that y'all deserved. Like how we always say, and Booker T knows this because he said this at Wally Mania, how he should have beat Triple H.
But you know what? It's a classic situation of you being employed, in Booker T's case, that you're being a yes man. You're employed by the company, so you're gonna walk on eggshells instead of standing up for yourself and standing up for a fellow person of color, right? This is a classic situation where, our men aren't sticking up for us, right? And being so close-minded and not realizing why she decided she doesn't want to be there, if that's actually the case.
Right.
It wasn't because it was all about her, but again, you were promised that you would have a lengthy run with the tag team titles and make it prestigious, right? And then it was snatched away. And it's just the prime example of her career. You utilize her to prop something up, and I don't have to get into it because everyone knows how our stance.
Yeah, we've been
but
there.
It's the principle of the situation. Kudos to her that she knows her worth.
Right.
Because like you said, Booker T said at Wally Mania that he should have beat Triple H. When did you stand up for yourself when it was that was an extremely racist storyline, right? And you still didn't win.
Right.
You ultimately you look like an Uncle Tom. Ultimately, call a spade for a spade. And then Tony Atlas, I'm lost for words because like, who are you to tell? They
don't need her.
They don't need her. Also, you do need her. Look at the women's division.
Yeah.
There's like he says that she's left the spot that other talent's gonna take over. No one took it over.
In 2 minutes?
In 5 seconds?
They're supposed to take it in 2 minutes? Like, I don't get it.
And ultimately, and I it's crazy to me that like people feel this way. Like, yes, I know WWE is a huge company and what have you, but Vince McMahon and WWE isn't God,
right? It's
right?
not the end all be all.
Exactly. You don't know what's gonna happen for anyone, or what's anyone's situation. And it's a bigger picture. Like not, oh yeah, I need to be a 5-7 time women's champion. No, I'm a trailblazer in women's wrestling. We did this. Book us in better storylines. This is, it can't be the same women that look the same way that you're gonna push, but then use me just for popularity purposes. That's why, I said what I said to her, like, yo, thank you for knowing your worth.
Right.
And this is a classic case of a woman just standing, knowing her worth and standing up for herself. And it's unfortunate that, like these men feel this way.
And there's a great cage side write-up where the person talked about, her standing up for herself and how she's not back because she's not only because she's a woman, because she's a woman of color. And I don't think the person that wrote it was a person of color that saw it.
Is it cage side or daily?
Was it fan side?
No, I think because there's one website that always really
Daily
always
DDT?
behind it. Yeah, Daily DDT. I believe they're always the person that always writes is always an advocate for her and what have you.
I can't remember the article directly, but I remember I read it and it was just see, and it's not just.
But what it was the actual article? What was the actual article?
It was on Sasha Banks' situation.
No, you were telling me, but I
I'm saying they said that it's not just because she's a woman, because she's a woman of color that nobody supported, because just Harper wanted to leave, no backlash. Ambrose wanted to leave, no backlash. People asked for the releases, Ty Dillinger, and no backlash, but because she's the first woman, and not only a woman, but one of color acts, she's supposed to just take it. Just like the same thing with Naomi. When Naomi stands up for herself, she's supposed to just take it. And it's just a constant thing with the fans of WWE that people are starting to realize.
And I question, if this was Charlotte Flair that said she's tired of the way things are booked and what have you, would you question her decision and say she's a crybaby and this and that and the third? And again, people, I don't understand why people don't get it. You worked for a company for so many years with very minimum time off to yourself just to get a mental break or what have you, to get your body right. And if you're not happy with where you're at in your career or your job, you leave.
Right.
Right? At my job, people leave all the time, right? Because of their situation. They don't like the situation, you move on. Why is it any different for her?
You know why. Here's another issue that's going on backstage, and this is our last topic for the night.
Before you even go in on that too, Becky and Sasha would write itself. The man versus the boss.
Exactly. She sets it up for you guys all the time. She did the same thing with Bailey.
She
did the same thing with Bailey. You guys gotta pick up on it. She did the same thing for Amber Moon. She does that's what she does. People complain about how she talks on Twitter and stuff, but she's not.
It's not putting herself over. It's
she's
just
trying to elevate everybody. But she was going at Ronda. She was trying to help Ronda, and Ronda couldn't see it. People get sensitive.
I'm sure Ronda saw it to a certain extent, but
anyway, here's another issue backstage. Rush is done with major heat. According to PW Insider, W offered Rush $300K, which he turned down and requested double the money. Rush has apparently bought a group of people backstage without the proper credentials. They later made a scene with one of the WWE women security officers. When approached by a vet about the situation, he told the vet that he doesn't work for her. He works for Vince McMahon and not that person. Rush spoke about the being broke, and I quote, "My issue is that the fact that I haven't been on meet and greets with Bobby, haven't been getting paid for merchandise for us that has my catchphrase on them. I haven't been sent to live shows and TVs and forced to pay for my own rental for 5 days as well as hotel while not making enough money to do so. Walking around broke in the biggest sports entertainment industry that there is while having 2 children and a wife to support." End quote. There have also been talks about his backstage defiance to do rookie duties such as carry bags on tour, bring water, and etc. So that brings it to my debate. Do you feel like the WWE locker room culture may have an effect on the business product altogether?
Absolutely. And I understand, with sports, you have, rookie hazing and what have you. So there's just certain, or just, fraternities and sororities, there's just, a hazing. But still, it just seems like with WWE, the culture has been toxic, for decades, right? It's this person bullying this person, because you're not here, or because of your specific color, or and then there's bosses, right? Ultimately, it's a job for these people. It's their passion, but it's also their job, right? So I equate it again. If you're working a regular 9-to-5 job, right? If there's an issue amongst employees, you take it to HR, you take it to your manager, whoever your boss is. But it just seems like it's deemed okay in the locker room.
Right.
And that's mind-boggling. These people put their bodies on the line day in and day out. Everyone's human. And I understand everyone may not like each other or might not necessarily get along. But, if I see that just the morale is down and it's just a toxic vibe, don't you try like different activities to motivate and
team building
activities to get the morale up and promote a positive energy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this doesn't, and I guess, kids now that are watching the product and dream of being a wrestler, they don't know. They just see the glitz and glamour,
right?
But they don't see what goes on backstage. Like, and it's unfortunate that they're gonna be the same kids that grow up and they go through all of this and they finally get to WWE and it's not what they thought it was,
right?
And it shouldn't be that way.
And again, people are talking about paying respects to the business and things of that nature. Some of these guys are coming from the indies, so they've paid their respects. Just because it's not directly at WWE,
exactly,
doesn't mean that they haven't paid their respects.
Exactly.
I get the things at an NXT where you come in early, you break down a ring, you put the ring together, and you help out the crew, and this is how it works, and that's fine. I'm pretty sure that's the same way in the main roster too. I don't think that's what he's complaining about. It's more so about the certain way people approach him. Now, I'm not saying that he's 100% in the right, because I'm pretty sure there's certain things that he can handle better on his end on like certain situations. But like for it to spill out this way and then for you to pull him off TV, and it should never got that far.
Like, and I don't understand like the punishment thing. Like, unless you did something like really, really, really crazy. Like, for example, we just talked about Lars Sullivan. Yes, he did this in the past, right. But there's certain things that he's currently doing, right? But he's not getting reprimanded. But yet someone like Lio Rush, who's opinionated and strong-minded because he's standing up for himself, you pull him off TV.
Right.
Who does it hurt? It hurts him, but it ultimately hurts you too, because now you're pulling away a star that was working. And
now it cuts Bobby because now Bobby doesn't have a mouthpiece anymore.
Because Bobby's ultimately one-dimensional. He's a fighter. He's
right.
He's built that way, but he needs a manager. And it's just the ego of this company. Is just like. It's our way or the highway, and I get it. That's most companies like MO, but
this is probably the most. I don't want to say toxic, but this is the most unsettled locker room I've seen WWE in a while.
Well, you know what it is, because now there's options. There's options, and people finally realize, you know what? I deserve better than this. I deserve to go out and perform in front of fans. And work on my craft and my art,
and have fun.
Have fun. Be compensated properly, and have health insurance. Like if I turn my ankle, I want to know that my $1 billion company got me.
Right.
And it sucks if you're not a certain person, or you're not a third generational superstar, or you don't have that look. It's like, screw you.
You're replaceable.
We have
a factory down in NXT just to replace you at any moment.
And then the thing is, who do you have in NXT right now? Honestly, you have Undisputed. Like I said, when we mentioned this in the past couple of episodes ago, the women's division, besides Shayna, I don't see, when they come up to the main roster, anything happening with them. Yeah. There isn't a class like when Becky, Sasha, Charlotte came up together, and then when Bayley came up, and then when Asuka came up, and then when Ember came up. You know what I mean? Like, there isn't a class where I see there's potential. Right. The tag team division, there's no one. Now it's whatever. Now you're pulling tag teams from NXT UK because it's so,
depleted.
Exactly. I don't know. It's mind-boggling that a $1 billion company that's been around for decades,
they're trying to figure it out. By the way, shout out to Cody Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes. I don't know if you got a chance to see their promos for their match at Double Nothing. That Cody gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Like him dropping tears for real. Like, anyway.
Yeah.
And that's the show. Don't forget, if you want to buy that nice shirt that Jenna is wearing, head over to the WWE shop in our bios at the Mixed Tag Show, or at our personal at
Miss Jenna Baby, BAYBEE, or
at Blue Magic Grind, spelled as sound. Make sure you click the link in the description on the bottom right here in the YouTube if you're watching. Also, make sure you use the code name TMTS for your collar and elbow merchandise. They might, they see. Okay. That's what we're going with today. Okay. Anything else we need to plug in? That's it. And on that note, I bid you adieu. Goodbye. Mwah. And good night.
It's the Mix Tag Show. The Mix Tag Show. With Jenna and Blue. Damn.
Hey, did you like this episode? Like, comment, subscribe, and share this with your friends. And don't forget to follow us on our social media pages at The Mix Tag Show.